say we're okay. It never records y'all. It only records me, so you don't have to worry about that anyway. If you want to post yourself doing asana, by all means, but I'm not going to post you doing asana because that's your business. So let's start at the top of the mat. I'm just going to face you, but you face front. So we'll just bring the hands to prayer. Take a few breaths. And try to be a bit loose through the neck. Sometimes we think if we're standing still that we have to be like a steel bar, but allow some fluidity. And on your next exhale, lower the arms, open the eyes if they're closed. And let's reach up, we'll hold opposite elbows. On your exhale, bend over to one side. On your inhale, come through center again, like your forearms are going to graze your ceiling, and exhale over to the other side. Through center again, just one more time each side. So if you're bending to the right, your left foot will be a little bit heavier. Center, and then vice versa. But then you'll feel more in your waist. When we're through center again, just release your arms and forward bend, exhale. And we'll come halfway up for the inhale. Step or jump back, lower down, chaturanga, exhale. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Let's lift the heels off the ground, spin them to the right so your toes face the left. Bend the right knee so that your left foot is heavier. And again, you're just going to feel this in the waist. Let's bring the heels up and over to the other side. Now the lefty bends, the right foot presses hard, and the right waist gets the stretch. We'll come through center, lower the heels. Take one breath there with the quads really strong. Next inhale, heels high off the ground. Bend the knees for the exhale and jump forward. Inhale whenever you get there. Hold, exhale. Rise up, inhale. This time we'll take steeple mudra and we'll hinge over to the side for the exhale. So inhale like our fingers are going to graze the ceiling and then over to the other side. So the same thing you did, but now your arms are straight. One more time each side, inhale. And try to rotate in the shoulders enough that you feel the pinky edge of your hand touching the other hand. It's a little bit harder than the holding elbows position. Throw the belly in so we can rise up high and exhale to fold forward. Halfway up for the inhale. Step or jump back, exhale. Upward facing, downward facing. Let's go to B position, elbows down, just behind the wrists. And from there, we'll do the same thing with the feet that we did before. We'll spin them to the left first, then the right knee, and you'll find that now you feel a lot of weight in your arms. So do your best to push into your fingertips and get your chest a little bit closer to your thigh. Let's swivel the feet over to the other side. So we still want to get the stretch in the waist like you did when your arms were straight. But our awareness now is shifting over to our hands, our forearms, our elbows. Let's bring the feet to a parallel. Take a breath there with the legs super strong. It's very likely that your heels are not touching the floor now, but still same amount of strength of the legs as if they were. Let's use the fingers to press our chest closer to the thighs and straighten the arms. Regular down dog. Heels up for an inhale, bend the knees, exhale, and jump forward. Inhale at the top. Exhale to fold. Rise up, inhale. We're going to keep the right arm up. We'll just bring the left arm out to the side. Let's bend the elbow, the left elbow. And just rotate your fingers down for a moment and then up for a moment. Just to loosen up the shoulder a smidge. Then we'll take that left arm behind the back. And we'll take a Bakasana arm with our right elbow up, our left elbow down. And let's just hinge over to the left. So the top elbow is reaching, that right foot is pushing down, and we get a stretch through the right waist. Try not to let the chin kind of collapse into the chest. Instead, push your head into your arm, draw your belly in. And it should feel still good in the waist, like how it did previously, just that your arm position is getting a little harder. And let's rise up through center, release your arms. Notice you're standing in neutral when your arms are by your sides. Let's reach up, keep the neutrality, and just bring the right arm out to the side. So we're letting these ribs tuck in, we're not in the back bend. And drop your right fingers and lift it, just a few times like that. Just getting that shoulder rotation so that when you go to Bakasana arms, there's no protest or less of a protest. Then we get the knuckles behind the back, up by the shoulder blades. The left hand comes behind. You could also use a strap or hold your shirt. And we'll hinge over, reaching that left elbow to the right, pushing the hips to the left, pushing that left foot into the floor, pushing the head into the arm, drawing the belly in. There's quite a lot happening in this pose, so hopefully you stay in the moment. And the belly is going to be the thing that brings you up. Belly button to spine so that you rise up safely, and we'll just release the arms. Both arms up for an inhale. They can take any path. Exhale to fold, and then they can take any path. Inhale halfway up, and step or jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Let's just bring the feet together. So it's like you have one big foot. Lift the right leg up behind you as high as you can. Just circle your ankle a few times. Try to articulate through the toes as you do that. You'll feel all these little fine-tuned balance muscles work. And go the other way. Okay, so let's bring that right foot forward to the hands. High lunge, arms up. Put cactus arms, back knee down for the exhale. And high lunge again, back leg straight, arms up, inhale. And just a few more times like that. You could keep your palms facing forward the whole time, or when you straighten your arms, you could rotate so your palms face in, whichever you prefer. But try to keep heavy through your tailbone. Good. And let's lower the hands to the floor and just step to downward dog, feet together. So it's like you have one foot, and lift the left leg up as high as you can. Circle the ankle. There's that toe articulation too, so there'll be a moment where you're pointed, then you're pointed, you flex. Go the other way. Okay, we'll step that left foot forward to the hip. Try to get the toes at least as far forward as your fingertips. Arms up. Good. Bend into the back knee. Anjaneyasana, press the knuckles back. Straighten the back leg, reach up. 4 more times. Heavy tailbone. Lift it through the pubic bone. I've lost count. What a surprise. I feel like there should be one more. And we're going to meet in downward dog. If you can, after this, take your vinyasa. If you're skipping chaturangas, then just go to down dog. And again, we'll go to B position on forearms. As you're lowering your elbows down, you're going to have to squeeze them in a little bit. Otherwise, they're going to be too wide. Let's walk the feet back so we wind up in forearm plank. When the feet go back enough, you can lower the hips. You wind up with a straight line roughly from your head to your feet. One more breath here. We'll start to walk the feet in again. So we wind up in down dog B. Press into the fingers, straighten the arms, down dog A. Let's lift the heels high, inhale, bend the knees, exhale, jump forward. Inhale at the top, exhale to fold. Bend into the knees. Utkatasana, hands to prayer. We're just gonna tip over to a warrior three briefly. So the torso comes down, left leg will come up. And once you feel extended, straighten your right leg. So it morphs into your warrior three. Just as a transition place. And we'll rebend the right leg and step back for warrior one, arms up. The hands could be up in steeple mudra or just palms together. One more breath here. Let's bring the arms to cactus. And then like you did going into Bakasana, bring the knuckles down. And take both arms behind you, reverse prayer. So it's like the bottom arm in Bakasana, but on both sides. And lean forward, launch into your warrior three again. That right leg will be bent until you feel like you have the extension of your leg opposing your torso. And then you can straighten your right leg. Good, let's bend both knees, feet together. Utkatasana, release your grip, arms up. And then hands to prayer in front of your chest. Lean, extend the right leg, and then straighten your left leg. Keep spiraling that right thigh down so that the leg is lifting from your inner thigh, not from your outer hip. Good. Bend the left leg, big step back, and warrior one. So I hate warrior one arms because they're just really hard. But if I start here in prayer, it's easier because in prayer you can easily press palm to palm. So as I start to extend the arms up, I'm just thinking more about the pinky side of the hand. There's other ways to get the arms up in warrior one, but this one would be potentially the easiest if you're trying to go for the traditional palm to palm grip. Okay, let's take the arms to cactus and keep your elbows there, but move your fingers down. So you have this inner rotation in your shoulder and back into reverse prayer or hold opposite elbows or do a fist pump. Lean forward, launch that right leg up. And when you can, straighten your left leg. Balance is going to be a lot more wiggly if your left leg is straight. So if it's too much, just keep your leg bent. But reach with that right foot. Lisa, get your leg higher. A little more. There we go. Okay. Bend the knees, feet together, Utkatasana, arms up. And let's fold as we straighten the legs. Exhale. Halfway up. Inhale. Step or jump back. Chaturanga. Exhale. Upward facing. Inhale. Downward facing. Exhale. We'll keep our feet there at the back of the mat. Let's just walk hands to feet. Reach for the big toes. First two fingers and thumbs. Anandustasana. Inhale, chest up. Exhale to fold. I like to think about the balls of the feet pressing into the floor here. Because otherwise my weight will sink into the hips and my butt will go too far back. And that's a pretty common thing. We sink back because we don't want to fall forward. So if you think about the balls of your feet, you won't fall, but you'll have your weight nicely distributed. Okay, let's straighten the arms for an inhale. Palms to the mat, exhale, and walk to downward dog. Keep your heels on the floor for as long as you can. There might be a moment where they pop up, and that's fine. Just try to keep your legs straight and strong so that you're sort of in control of what's happening with them and you're aware of it and you're making conscious choices. Okay, heels up for an inhale, bend the knees, exhale, look forward and jump. Inhale when you get there, and fold, exhale. Bend into the knees. Utkatasana, this time with steeple mudra. So you might want to get your fingers interlaced when your arms are in front of you, because it will be easier to keep the pinky edge of your hand touching the other hand. So when you can, we'll do the same warrior three thing, but with steeple mudra. So we'll lean forward, we'll reach that left leg back, reach the arms forward, and when you can, straighten your right leg. If you can, gaze in the direction you're pointing. You basically look over the hand. Let's bend the right leg, step into warrior one, and open it up to warrior two. Thank goodness. Something a little bit more kind. Let's straighten that right leg for an inhale. We'll bring right hand, big toe side of the foot for the exhale. Rise up, straighten the leg again, inhale. And exhale, hand to the big toe side. Una vez más, inhale. Exhale. Let's just stay here for a moment. This is a variation on Parsvakonasana. Notice that your shoulder is inside of your knee. That will be quite important in Tittibhasana. And Carol, we prepped for Tittibhasana yesterday. Okay, let's unravel ourselves. And we'll just step the back foot to meet the front foot. Inhale when you get there. Fold, exhale. Bend the knees, Utkatasana, inhale. Steeple mudra arms. Take your time getting that settled. And we're trying to also bring the arms back a bit. So you're squeezing your head with your arms in a way. That will change when you go into warrior three. So now we'll tip forward. We'll extend the right leg back. And when we feel able, left leg straight. If we feel okay, look toward where you point. So keep reaching with those right toes. Belly in. Okay, a big step back into warrior one. And open it up into warrior two. Adjust the feet so you have that heel to arch alignment. And we'll straighten that left leg. Inhale. Exhale, bend and hand to big toe side. Inhale, rise up. So you're pushing into the ball of your foot. Exhale, bend the knee. You're pulling with that left heel. Inhale, push into the left ball of foot. Exhale, pull with that left heel. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. And we'll feel that shoulder, inner knee relationship. And then literally touching, literally pushing together. Take one more breath. And let's lower the hands, and we'll just step back in vinyasa from here. So that we can go from down dog to Bakasana. We'll walk the hands to the feet. And this time slide the hands under the feet, toes by wrists. You might have to bend your knees to get your toes all the way to your inner wrists. When you're able, drop your head and start to straighten your legs more and more. And just like in the previous forward bend, the Tittibhasana, still I like to focus on the ball of the foot. It's just pushing through the hand in order to push into the floor. Next inhale, we'll straighten the arms, the chest moves forward, release the hands, and walk to down dog, legs super strong and sturdy. Okay, heels up, inhale, bend the knees, exhale, and jump forward. Inhale at the top, fold, exhale. Bend into the knees, Bakasana. We'll do one more little variation of warrior three. This time, interlace the fingers behind your back. I need to do it with my elbows bent at first because then I roll the shoulders back. Otherwise, I feel stuck in the shoulder flesh. But however you want to get there. Arms straight, knuckles reaching. Lean forward, lift the left leg up. And when you're able, right leg straight. So drop that left hip and lift the left leg from your inner thigh. Good. Bend the right leg, step warrior one. And we'll keep our knuckles reaching toward our back foot. Oh, so much opening in the chest. Woo. It's a bit uncomfortable, huh? Where it's for me. Take one more breath there. Let's release the back knee down so it becomes an Anjaneyasana shape. And we'll let go of the arms and become a lizard shape. Hands on the big toe side of the foot. For this one, let's turn the right foot out a bit and let the knee drop open. Then we'll bring the hands or the elbows down. So this is like the easier version of lizard because just relaxing, feels so good in the hip. Staying square is not a problem. Having equal weight on your elbows is not a problem. In a few minutes, we'll do a different version that is a little more demanding of us. We're going to turn this into a warrior two shape. So we'll rise to the palms, turn that right foot forward, lower the back heel. Let's bring our right elbow inside of the knee. Bring the left arm behind the back so that your knuckles are by your left hip. So basically that left arm behind us is just waiting for our right hand to get there. We're just gonna let this right upper arm slide down, and then we'll bring the hand around. And basically once you get your shoulder down, it's that same action that you did when you were in cactus arms and you were getting into Bakasana arms, and we were just doing that little drill where you lowered your fingers down. This exact action that's going to get you into a bind under your leg. Just that your leg might be in the way. So whether it's comfortable, that's a whole other story. Okay, let's get out of there. And we'll step the back foot forward. Exhale to fold. Bend into the knees, Uttanasana. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Get your arms to roll back as much as you can. Just like if you were on your back in that Tittibhasana, Tittibhasana, that one. That back bend when your shoulders are down. Same thing, you gotta kind of wiggle them back. We'll lean forward, extend the right leg back. Straighten the left leg. So our knuckles are reaching back and our right foot is reaching back. But our chest is forward, our gaze is slightly forward. I think summer's coming because I'm sweating like crazy up in here. Let's bend into the left leg, warrior one. So it's fun here to try to keep your thumbs off of your leg. That's one aspect that you might like in your chest. Another thing that's fun is to bring the hands on the outside of that back leg to twist a little bit more. So you can play with that and see what your chest prefers. And let's turn it into Anjaneyasana. Right knee down. Untuck the toes. So theoretically, at least you're working here pretty hard. And let's relax. We'll lower the hands to the big toe side of the foot. Turn the foot out a bit. The knee drops open, elbows down. Good. So there's no bend in your ankle. Even though your knee is dropping open, that's purely coming from the hip. So if your leg had rebar in it, going from your knee out the bottom of your foot, it would still be straight. The ankle has no bend. So even though the knee is dropping open, I'm still thinking about the ball of that left foot touching the floor. It's just not gonna touch the floor at some point when your knee drops pretty far away.
Richard, the elbows is right under the shoulder or forward? A little bit forward.
Say that again, the what?
The elbows, are they right under the shoulder or forward a bit?
They could be maybe an inch in front of the shoulders would be like the perfect spot. Yeah. The word elbow got lost in your French accent. Okay, let's come on to the palms. And we'll step back and vinyasa. And let's do that elbow question again because it's applicable in forearm plank. So let's come down to forearm dog and walk our feet back to forearm plank, just like we did before. And your shoulder elbow relationship here would be like the same as it was in lizard. Either under your shoulders or slightly in front. Oh, Miss Lisa, we got to do that. We're going to come back to that in a sec. Thank you. So when we're doing that, Lisa, you can do your forearm plank. I got excited. Let's walk the feet in, forearm dog, and straighten the arms. And we have to step our left foot forward for our warrior 2 because I forgot our barring on side 2. So we'll bring our elbow to our thigh or our inner knee and then work on this back arm first and get that back arm in such a way that it's just waiting there. Because that's what you need in Bakasana. You need one arm to do its own job so that the other arm can meet it halfway. And we'll slide that shoulder down and we'll just reach under, just like your little cactus thing that you did. You could look up, you could think chin to shoulder. If you want a neck stretch, you could bring your left ear toward your left shoulder. Okay, and let's unwind. We're just going to meet in downward dog. Let's step the right foot forward and launch the left leg up, Ardha Chandrasana. Okay, so we'll be here for a moment, but after this, we're going to come into triangle. So I want you to think about this as you think about your triangles. So in triangle, you know to press into the ball of your foot. You know to get your right hip under you. Let's do all that and bring our right hand to the ankle. So now you have no balance assistance. Let's keep our right hand where it is as we step into triangle. So you bend the right leg, lower that left foot, and re-straighten the right leg. And then make a choice. Does your hand need to stay there? Or can it go further down your foot to get your big toe grip? Take one more breath here. Let's lower the hands to the big toe side of the foot. Lift the back heel so it's a lunge. This time we're going to come into the hard version of lizard. So we're going to keep our right foot facing front and attempt to come to our elbows. This knee is going to stay right over the ankle because the foot didn't turn out. So the knee is not turning out either. The foot is forward, the knee is over the ankle. And if we come down all the way to the elbows, we're going to try to get our right elbow as heavy as the left elbow, which it's going to take a lot of rotation for your torso. You're going to have to scissor your legs so that your butt doesn't drop toward the floor. Instead, think about your butt rising up. And you should feel like your back leg is working really hard as well. And then bring your knee closer to your shoulder. Yes, squeeze your body with your right knee. Good. And let's come on to the hands. And we'll just step back, downward dog, rest for a sec, and then we'll do the other side. So in Tittibhasana, the knee does have to squeeze into the shoulder in exactly that way. So we prep for it in all these concepts. Okay, left foot forward or Anjaneyasana. No, Ardha Chandrasana. My language skills today are iffy at best. So when you're in triangle, you might have an easier time leaning your shoulders back because you don't feel quite so wiggly in your balance. So instead of depending on both feet, just depend on the entirety of your left foot. Let's bring our left hand to our left ankle. And we'll have the ball of our foot pressing down so that we're not too far back. We are in control of this shape. Let's turn it into triangle. Big step back, then re-straighten the left leg. Make a choice, where does that left hand need to go, or where would it serve you best to go? Okay, and we'll bring our hands down to the big toe side of the foot. Lift the back heel, adjust your feet if you need to, so you're in a lunge shape. And without dropping your hips at all, dip your chest down so that you can get your elbows down. And it is very hard to squeeze your knee into your shoulder, but we try our best. In Tittibhasana, you'll have kind of no choice about it. You'll be stuck in the position, but the strength requirement of squeezing is best prepped in something like this. Come onto our hands again. We'll just step back, downward dog. Shake out your head. Let's lift the right leg up high. We'll keep it up. We'll just come onto the left ball of foot so that we're a little bit more weight in the hands. Let's see what you think about it. Lower your left heel down again so that the left heel is taking some weight. There's less weight in your hands. Lift your left heel again. Now there's more weight in your hands to keep your arms straight. And let's just step that right foot forward to the hands. Rise up, high lunge. Into a prayer twist. Hook that left arm. I'm going to face this way for now. And because we've been doing so many of those shiftings from Warrior 3 to Warrior 1, we can easily take this forward into a variation on Parvrita Ardha Chandrasana. So we'll shift the weight out of the back foot, fully into the front foot, and we'll lift the back leg up off the ground. The right leg is going to have to stay bent because our elbow is hooked there. And we need to be able to keep that hook. Ooh, I lost my balance. I hope you stayed. Ooh, I lost it again. Okay, let's return to our prayer twist. Ow, so much easier than trying to balance it. And let's untwist for a twisted triangle. We have to scoot that back foot in a little bit. Straighten both legs. Left hand down, right hand up. And while you're here, just for kicks, stay in the pose as fully as we can, except just lift your back heel off the ground an inch and notice how your weight shifts into that front foot a little more. Then put the back heel down again. Do that one more time. Lift the back heel, your weight will shift forward and lower the back heel. So let's keep the back heel down, but still put that much weight in the forward foot. It's just going to help you square the hips a bit more. Okay, let's unravel the arms. And we'll step back, vinyasa or don't vinyasa. It's just shifting weight a little bit here and there, just using basically the feet to help propel you. Okay, let's lift the left leg up, high up toward the sky. We'll stay in this down dog shape. Just lift the right heel up. So we're still pressing our chest toward the thigh, we just have more weight in the hands. Lower the right heel down. One more time, right heel up. And right heel down. And right heel up. Then we step forward with that left foot and rise up to high lunge or your prayer twist. Just gonna back up a bit. Okay. So we try to get as high up on that right arm as we can. And we'll slide our weight forward into that left foot. Your back foot is going to propel you. Once you feel the weight in the ball of your left foot, you can lift the right leg. Just like Warrior 3, reach it back. Point through the toes. Good. Let's step back again. We'll untwist and we'll scooch that back foot in a bit. The heels are in a straight line with each other, or if that feels too wobbly for you, move your right foot a little more to the right. But definitely it never crosses this way. It only would be lighter, never more, like you're never going to be more on a tightrope and cross. Okay, right hand down, left hand up. We'll lift that right heel just an inch or so off the ground and lower it down again. One more time. So we're trying to stabilize that left foot. Good. And then with both heels down, pretend you're going to step forward on that left foot. That's just going to bring your left hip back a little bit. And you can eke out another inch of twist. Let's unravel ourselves. And we'll step back, vinyas. Did I forget anything on the side too? Okay. Periodically, I'll have to check in with you because God knows. Let's come through and have a seat. So you can get there however you want. We've worked on this other days. The two-part jump through would be landing sort of on the edge of your feet, and then keep your shoulders forward. This is where I landed. I keep my shoulders where they are. Walk just the hands back, and then practice extending and lowering the butt. Okay, Bakasana. Round one. We'll do this many times. My pants are feeling a little bit tight today, so I have to adjust my pants, or I won't be able to do any of these poses. Okay. Heels by your pelvis, inhale, and fold, exhale. It feels a little bit like the sausage once out of the casing. That's what's going on in my house. Let's rise up. We're just going to bring the left leg out in front of us so it's sort of out of our way for a moment. And before we baby cradle the leg, let's happy baby the leg. So we're going to pull that thigh back as if the right knee is going to touch the wall behind you. And while your knee is going back, your ribs are staying put. So your thigh is now behind your back, essentially. So just plant the seed for that, and now baby cradle yourself. And try to keep sitting up tall. If it's impossible to sit up tall, just sit on a towel or something. Okay. So we're going to attempt a sundial into a bound sundial. So to start sundial, left hand to right foot. Dive this right arm through and try to get your thigh back where it was in your happy baby. And then your shoulder can come under your knee. The right hand can come to the floor. That's going to help you keep the thigh back. And then you can practice extending the right leg. So having the thigh back is really the key to this, because without that, you won't get your shoulder in the proper relationship with your knee. So if you can maintain your leg up without your hand, which actually, like, it's kind of just the same, like without the shoulder stretch, you just bring your left arm behind your back and bring your right hand up to meet it. So you're essentially in sundial or in bird of paradise style, but you're on the butt. Let's take one more breath. That looks pretty good. Okay, and let that go. So ideally, you just work your right quads quite a bit. Let's just try the other side first with your happy baby situation. And if you were doing happy baby on the ground, you would get your knee to the ground, like if you were laying on your back. Same concept here, you're pushing it toward the wall. This is also a prep for foot behind the head stuff. Okay, let's baby cradle it. Shoulders back, chest up. Miss Bailey, flex that foot a little bit more. So we sort of combine this and your happy baby to get our hip prepared for the sundial. So right hand to left foot, left thigh back. You might have to lean a little bit to your right, that's fine. I use the left hand to push it back, roll the calf muscle toward my face, and then I can get that shoulder under there. And the left hand, some people like to have it close to the butt, some people have it out. It doesn't really matter. The function here is it's keeping your thigh back. And if you're able, you would bind around, and now it's up to your leg on its own to straighten itself out, because your hand won't help. And your shoulder is pressing your knee back. So you have to have this shoulder be strongly moving back, otherwise you'll end up a little bit too slow. Good, and let's get out of there. Let's vinyasa and give ourselves a moment of normalcy. Good, and keep curling into a little ball, good. And when you get to down dog, just shake out your head. Let's bring the right foot forward. We're going to turn that right foot to a left diagonal and just do that little half squat, half hamstring stretch thing. There will be a day that this is easy for you. I just want to see what's happening. And Miss Lisa, if you can do this, your Bakasana heels down is coming. In the works. All right, we'll transfer ourselves to the other side. Just up and over, go the hips, then your butt is down by your left heel. If you find that you feel tippy, the first thing you could do to try to fix it is move your right foot further away from your hips. You'll just take up more space lengthwise, much easier to control the balance. Okay, let's come up and over to that right leg bent again. We're going to bind underneath that leg and head toward bird of paradise. So your shoulder and your knee have a relationship. And when you decide it's time to take it up, you might decide to let your shoulder slide away a little bit. It does make it easier than to straighten the leg. So we'll bring our left foot forward in order to step on it. And we'll lift our torso first, and then the right leg. But so just like when you were sitting, there's a lot of oomph in that top leg. The quads have to work to get it a little bit straighter. Let's bend the knee again, lower the foot, and then step back. This time we'll unbind and we'll face that right leg for Hanumanasana.
When you do the bind, which hand grab which wrist?
The right hand would, on that side, right hand holds left wrist. So the arm that goes underneath your leg is going to be the one that grabs the other one. And that's just my school of practice. There's other people that would have other opinions. So when you see that someone on Instagram is opposing my words, just roll with it, it's fine. Okay, let's find our lunge again. And we're gonna go Ekapada Bakasana B into Bakasana into Vinyasa. So get your right shoulder underneath your right leg, just like you've been doing, but we're not gonna bind, we're gonna put our hands on the floor. We'll bounce that left foot forward, but not all the way to our hands. Notice it's like 12 inches behind my hand. My left leg, I'm gonna go Bakasana, and I'm gonna lean my right thigh onto my right arm in order to get the right leg off the ground. Good, and I'm pressing my thigh down. I'm pressing my shin down. Good, turn it into Bakasana by leaning forward, bending the right leg, and then you can jump it back, chaturanga. Keep looking forward, and nothing to see back down on the mat. Good. So you just did Tittibhasana essentially with one leg. Ekapada Bakasana B has that front leg straight. That is essentially Tittibhasana. Okay, so we get to do all of that on the other side. First, we'll step our left foot forward, and we'll bind underneath that left leg. Sometimes I wiggle around here to get the hip comfy. The left arm will be under the left leg. The left palm will be facing away from you so that the right wrist can just plunk on down into your hand. Then step the right foot forward. Come onto the tippy toes of your left foot and eventually stand up by powering up your right quads. You have to basically drill your right foot through the floor in order to stand. And then that left leg will straighten depending on many, many factors. One thing that I do is loosen my bind a little bit to give a bit more freedom. Good. We'll bend into the knees again. Keep your bind if you can as you lower your foot and as you step back, just for some practice of balance. And then unbind, lower the back knee, Hanuman. So in your Ekapada Bakasana B, there will be this aspect of you have to scooch your front foot forward. And it's sort of like if you were in your lunge and you wanted this foot to move forward without moving your back foot, your toes would do a little grippy grip, slidey slide. That's what they have to do in your Tittibhasana sometimes. And in your Ekapada Bakasana B, because it's the same thing. And when you hear something as long as Ekapada Bakasana B, recognize that one of the words is Bakasana, and you know that word. So let's bring it in again to a lunge. So essentially the right leg is going to be Bakasana, which is this arm balance that you're super familiar with. You do 1,000 things from there. But we're dealing with that front leg also. So we're going to get that left shoulder under the knee. Then the right foot will step forward and go into Bakasana. And getting that right foot off the ground is not such a big deal. Then you have to drop your butt and creep your left foot forward to get it off the ground. Look forward a bit, because every arm balance, the chest has to go forward. Therefore, the gaze goes forward. Good. And whenever you're ready, turn it into Bakasana by bending your left leg. And then you can jump it back if you want. Very nice. Merrily we roll along. Let's come through and have a seat on our butts. For Bakasana, kind of not Ashtanga. We're gonna have our feet out in a diamond shape. So there's this big space here. And we'll just aim our head for the arches of the feet. And try to lift your belly up away from the ground. So it feels like from your head to your butt, you're in the shape of a rainbow. Okay, let's unravel ourselves. And we'll bring the feet out about max width, maybe a little bit more. Then we'll do sort of the same thing with the body, but we're gonna have a situation because our knees are now up. So we'll bring our elbows inside. They may or may not touch the floor. And we're gonna aim our head to the same spot. It's not gonna go to the same spot, but we're gonna aim it to the same spot. And we're just gonna think about, again, creating that rainbow shape. So the belly has to draw in order to round your mid-back. So staying there, now squeeze your knees into your shoulders. That actually makes it easier to either get the elbows down or to keep them down if you have them there. The knees squeezing in is like a little saving grace. And now you're rounded and it should feel pretty good. If it feels like too much, just keep your palms down instead of elbows. Okay, let's unravel ourselves and we'll just vinyasa from there. You can get through however you want. If you're practicing jump backs, literally every opportunity, try it. Because after the 7 millionth time, you are going to get it. Okay, so before we do another Tittibhasana type thing, to the very deep forward bend, we're just going to neutralize ourselves for a moment. In Tittibhasana. Go ahead and move my computer out of the way in case I fall on it. I don't want to break it because it could happen. So Tittibhasana is like headstand, but our head's off the ground. So we're going to have our palms flat, down dog V. We're going to keep looking back, even though our feet are going to come out of our view because they're going to lift up to the ceiling. I'm going to try to keep my head looking back toward my bookshelf. And then we're a little bit more neutral in our back, just like we would be in a headstand. And you might find that this requires a lot of your fingers, specifically your thumbs. If the thumbs are light, there will be too much hand wiggling and your weight won't be far enough forward. Good. All right, let's come on down for a sec. Either rest in child's pose or kneeling. And we're going to do that again, but you'll make a choice this time. Do you want to put your head down and turn it into Bakasana C, palms flat, or same thing, head up. And we're going to try to do a little scissoring of the legs once we're up there. So we're not going to do any like crazy split thing. So I'm going to try to come up first with one leg. And I'll have my legs talk to each other from the get-go so that I know I'm not going to overshoot it. And then once I feel like they're somewhat vertical, you can't see what's happening, so you don't really know. I'm just going to let them do this little tiny flutter kick where one goes forward, the other goes back. And that's it. Just practicing, basically trying to keep the hips stable as your legs move. And you can see how slow I'm going. So give it a try. And the flutter kick can be very small because you'll find that it's hard.
Rachel, is that with your head off the ground?
I had my head down, but you choose up or down. I chose for that demo, I chose down because there was a greater possibility of success. And if I'm demoing, I don't want to be wasting your time as I'm trying to figure out where to put my body. But so whether your head is down or not, the weight is in your hands, your thumbs, your wrists. There should be no neck pain, even if your head is down. If there is, press down harder with your arms. Good. And then let's slowly come on down, take your resting place, whatever that is. Okay, and we'll just meet in down dog, just nice and normal. Few breaths there, reorganize. We'll do a few more preps before full Tittibhasana. Let's come forward and have a seat. Let's see. There are so many. We're going to go Marichyasana A to start. You could do B, of course, if you prefer. The only difference is, do you keep your left leg straight or do you half lotus your leg? For today, because we're doing Tittibhasana stuff, which requires a leg to be straight, I'm going to go A, because then I can practice the ball of this left foot pushing forward. And then we'll wrap our arm around that right leg. So those of you who are in A position, which is left leg straight, you're going to press your left calf muscle into the ground. And that's going to help you get your left leg even straighter. And Ms. Carrie, let's walk your right foot to the right about 4 inches. Yes, because now there's more space for your ribs to come forward. Good. Okay, let's unravel ourselves and just change sides. So the left heel will be sort of right by your sitting bone, slightly to the left side of it. Reach as far forward as you can and try to get your armpit pretty low on your shin. That's going to make your binding much easier. So it's basically a forward bend first and then a bind. And sometimes I take like a breath or two in it and I realize, oh, there's this gap between my ribs and my leg, my left leg. I need to bridge that gap. So then I unbind in the middle of the pose and I redo it. And if you're in a lead class and you get 5 breaths counted, you just, 2 breaths, you're in one spot, 2 breaths, you're in another, and 1 you use to get there. All right, let's unwind ourselves and vinyasa. Come through and have a seat. And we'll start like we did our weird thing after Bakasana. So feet are about mat width, maybe a little wider. Elbows will drop down. So to get my elbows down comfortably, one trick is open your knees, then get the elbows down, and then bring your knees in again. And then once your knees are in again, you're basically stuck there, and it's pretty nice. So feel free to stay here, or reach your arms through your legs, and then I crawl them back so that they're on a backward diagonal, and then we push our legs forward because the shoulders are under the knees. When the legs straighten, your shoulders wind up on the ground. So the strength of the legs is determining how deep you fold. Of course, you're choosing this, however. You know how strong your legs are, but that doesn't mean you have to be patient. Good, so the way out is a bit strenuous. You're gonna drag your heels on the ground, bend your knees. Hello, hamstrings. Then we're just gonna unravel ourselves and vinyasa. And that is basically the last step we will do for Tittibhasana. And before we go to it, because it's a very deep forward bend, again, we're going to neutralize ourselves. And this time we'll go with our fingers interlaced unless you're choosing no headstand, and then you would go again, palms flat, head off the ground. We're just gonna play with some leg thing for a sec. So I'm in Bakasana A. I'm gonna try to lift one leg up straight, and then the other leg just to an L shape. I don't know exactly where this leg is. I'm just assuming it's somewhat straight. I'm just trying for straight. And then I'm gonna lift this one to what I think is straight, and I'm gonna bring this one just to an L shape. I'm just alternating there. And it's guesswork. I might be able to yell at you about where your legs are, but you just go to what you think is up and what you think is parallel to the ground. And that can be done with any of the headstand or pincha or handstand. Any inversion really where your legs are free. Good, and let's come on down and take a rest. So that was very smooth, which gives me the feedback that we can bump it up a bit. So our next headstand is going to be the same one you did before. This is Bakasana C. And I know if you're working with your head off the ground, you're probably going to kick up one leg at a time. Otherwise, and I should say press up, because kick up is not accurate. Otherwise, you're going to go walking, 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 tippy, tippy toes, pressing, pressing into the fingers until you're here at what I think is about legs parallel to the floor, but I'm not quite sure. I think it is, but I don't know. And then you'll make a conscious choice. Do you want to go further or not? It's only about here that we start to get into the we could fall over category. And falling out of this is not really fun. So err on the side of staying with your toes in your view. Because if your toes are in your view, you're going to fall into downward dog. And then it's very safe. So it's really about getting your butt over your shoulders. So your toes have to do scoochy, scoochy, scooch. And when you pause there, looking at your toes, feel your hands working like mad. And then make a choice. Go maybe 2 inches higher and just keep talking to your hands. And then we'll slowly come out of it. Pause at a place where you can see your toes again, have a conscious thought process. Good. Carol, were your hands flat? And you had no blocks and things. Woohoo! That was good. All right. So let's meet in normal downward dog to shake out your head and neck. So Tittibhasana is sort of a sucky pose because it has part A through E. So it's very long and strenuous. We'll break it up a little bit. So let's go for A position first. Walk your hands back a little bit so they're further away from the edge of your mat, just so you have more room. We're going to jump our feet forward of our hands. We'll bring our shoulders underneath our knees. So earlier we did something where when we were in sundial, I said you might have to shift your weight. So I literally lift my right heel off the ground, then dive under. Lower the right heel, lift the left heel, then dive under. And try to get the shoulders wedged under the knees. I also then use my thumbs to get them under. Okay, once you're under, palms down, butt down, thighs press into your arms, and then you can start to straighten your legs. So it's the squeezing your knees into your shoulders and pressing your thighs down that's going to get your legs up. Good, and then let's lower the feet come down onto our butt, and we're gonna go double pigeon with our knuckles in and our elbows down. So that was Tittibhasana A. We're gonna do modifications of a few of the other ones because they're not gonna love them, to be honest. Let's shake that out and do double pigeon on the other side, this time with the thumbs inside of the palm, fingers curled around, and then angle your knuckles down. I always learned this, keep your forearms parallel to the floor. And then Lisa one day was doing it like this with her arms straight. And then we all tried it and we're like, ooh, that's nice. So, you know, play with it, see what works. Okay, so Tittibhasana A and E are very wrist intensive, as you just felt. But B, C, D are not. So let's find our squat. Oh, the dread in my heart right now. Okay, no, we're gonna do it's okay. Let's lift our butt up a bit so our legs are straighter, but not fully straight yet. We're gonna lift our right heel, dive our shoulder under, and we're gonna bind around that right leg. This is a modification because in full pose, we're gonna bind around both legs. But I just want us to practice first, binding around this right leg. Push your shoulder and your knee together, start to straighten your right leg. And just like when you were doing this on the ground, you're gonna feel that the straighter your leg goes, the more your body is kind of underneath you. Your leg straightening is pushing you into this forward leg. Let's unwind that leg and try the other. So the left arm slides under. I like to get the shoulder and the calf muscle to negotiate themselves. And then we'll try to straighten the left leg. So you're pressing your left leg to straight, and notice just where your hands are on your back. Because when we go to do the full pose, Tittibhasana B, we're gonna have our hands on our back, sort of in this vicinity. Okay, let's unwind and we'll just squat again for a moment. Actually, let's vinyasa just so you don't get stuck in a forward bend, because these are quite deep. And milk this upward facing dog. Okay. So B position, let's go for the full thing, because binding around one leg worked. If you want to keep doing that, by all means, try that again. Otherwise, you're going to go right arm under right leg and around your back. Left arm under left leg and around your back, so that your fingers can hold each other. And I have to get my shoulders further under before I can get that grip. You just keep thinking about your shoulders until one day the fingers touch. You could use a strap also. I'm trying to turn while I'm in it to show you how the hands would grab. So that would be B. Stay there for one more breath. Okay, and let's unravel ourselves and let's vinyasa again. And again, milk this, this upward facing dog. So based on what was happening in B, we are going to skip C, because C is B position, but walking forward and back. It is silly. And until we have that bind behind the back comfortable, there's no reason to start walking around. Okay. Let's bring our feet forward and squat again. And in this squat, let's try to lengthen our back. So instead of a rounded shape, just to give you some relief. So we did A, we did B, we skipped C intentionally, and now we're going to use D as a prep for E. All this is going to do is get our shoulders further underneath our knees. So we're going to Charlie Chaplin our feet, like duck feet. We're gonna lift one and get the shoulder under. Then lower that heel, lift the other, get the shoulder under. If you're comfortable balancing there, you would drop your head and interlace your fingers around your ankles. Balance is tricky. So it's gonna be all that stuff you did earlier to get your, like your warrior threes, all that stuff. Good, and then from there, you're already quite deep in this forward bend. We're gonna turn it into an arm balance again. This is Tittibhasana E, palms down, butt down, lift the legs. So your butt will be a little bit lower than the A position. The legs will be a little bit higher because now after BCD, your shoulders are further underneath you. Okay, let's get out of there and milk your vinyasa again. This is one of those poses that takes a lot of practice, but it's all that primary series forward bending and hip stretches that will get you there. Okay. Let's come down to the knees, and we're gonna go Tittibhasana. So a very delicate back bend. Get into it however you'd like. And instead of looking all the way forward toward the top of your mat, just look sort of between your wrists, or maybe as far as your thumbs, but no further than that. Take 2 more breaths. Good, and let's come on down and rest for a moment. Carrie, what the hell? That was so good. Okay, and let's go down dog and right leg forward, Anjaneyasana. So as you noticed, your Tittibhasana is a crazy deep forward bend. It's the same as all those other bind under the leg things, just a few inches more, but those inches make a big difference. Let's bend that front knee as much as we can stand it. We'll head towards some back bendy things to unwind you. Okay, let's just trade sides. So we'll just up and over, left knee bends. Just a simple Anjaneyasana. And basically you're in a split from knee to knee. We're working on getting the belly to lift. Okay, let's come around to that front side of the mat again. And this time we'll go for a Bakasana grip with the back leg. Make a choice, do you want Anjaneya or do you want pigeon? It will be slightly different for the balance, but sort of the same for your left thigh. And Carol, let's bend your front knee deeper. Yes, you might have to scoot your front foot forward a little more. And then drop the hips. Do you feel like your thigh is about to explode? Okay. Good. Let's release and change sides. You can walk it over. I'm going to just change my legs and then I can still see you. In case Carol's trying to get away with something, I got to keep my eye on her. So remember how weird that king pigeon grip is to get? For a lot of people, Bakasana is the same thing. It takes a few years to figure out how on earth are you going to swivel your hand on your foot. So for me, the first trick, not really a trick, you have to get your foot really close to your hip, which requires your quads to allow that to be open enough. Okay, let's get out of there and let's step back, vinyasa. Or spin around if you're facing the back of your mat. Okay, Anahatasana. Lower the knees down and walk them back so you can drop forehead or chest to the ground. Once you're down there, draw your belly in. Okay, and let's rock forward to Sphinx. So the hips down and the chest up. The elbows are maybe 1 inch in front of the shoulders, and you're pulling yourself forward as if you're going to drag yourself through, but you're on a sticky mat, so you're not really going to move. Okay, let's keep the pubic bone down. Just bring the right hand across toward the left elbow and reach the left hand to the left foot, Bakasana grip. This will be much harder than the Anjane or the pigeon position. But the feedback is really nice from the ground. So make sure that your pubic bone is still down and that your hips are equally down. If you rock to the side in order to get your grip, that's fine, but now put that left hip on the ground again. Good, let that go. And we'll just try the other side. So remember this concept of Sphinx, you're lifted through the chest. We'll bring the left arm across, but we're still lifted through the chest. We're not sinking. Right hand to foot. Foot toward your butt. Really toward your outer hip, I should say. And as you're pulling your or pushing your foot toward your butt or toward the floor, push into your left hand and your left elbow and get your chest up higher. Good. And let's get out of there. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale for upward facing. And exhale for downward facing. Let's rest there for a moment. Okay, so again, choose your inversion of choice. It could be a headstand, it could be a forearm stand, but if you're going headstand, don't do A, C or B. So either do a Bakasana or a Muktahasta A. Don't do the ones where your arms are crazy far away. I'm going to go for pinch up. Once we get up, we're going to just flutter the legs like you did before. So you would find your balance first. And then you'd let the legs talk to each other to just pass each other in the night, essentially. And you would decide how big of a flutter do you want. You also decide how fast do you want. But you're just going to try to get your hips to stay there while your legs move. Good, and those of you with your head on the floor, still a lot of weight in your hands so you don't get any neck cramps. Very nice. And make your game plan coming down, take a rest. And we'll meet in downward dog. Okay, let's rock forward to plank from down dog and onto your belly. We're gonna go for a cross wrist Dhanurasana. So let's bend our right leg, reach your left hand for your right foot. And slide your right hand along your back until you can bend your left leg and hold the left foot with the right hand. You get the inner edges of your feet to touch and start to kick. So you know your wrists are crossed when the inner edges of your feet touch. And we'll kick up as high as we can. I can feel that my thighs are off the ground, but it sure doesn't look like they are because it's like a just barely situation. But we try. And Anuk, get your arms straight. And let's come on down. So one thing, Miss Anuk, I think you might have an extra bend in your wrist. So it's literally reaching back like the simplest way possible. There's no turning the hand. It's literally just grabbing easy, easy peasy. So let's try the other side, right hand to left ankle, basically just slapping it on there. And then slide that left hand along your butt and your back, and then just slap it on there. So it should feel super easy in your wrists. And then we start to kick. And your legs work hard. Your chest opens. And then let's slowly release and come on down. So option next would be Dhanurasana, normal, or Bakasana, Dvipad. So if you're going Dhanurasana, you're just going to hold your ankles, just the easy way, and kick. There's no weird wrist thing. And if you're going Bakasana, you're going to hold the inside of your feet. Get your feet close to your hips. Get your pointer finger between big toe, second toe, and start to lift elbows, chest. Good. Push the pubic bone down. And Lisa, squeeze your knees in a little bit. Good. And let's slowly get out of there. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale, upward facing. And exhale, downward facing. Let's pause there and rest for a moment. We're going to return to the flutter kick of the inversion. I will challenge you to choose an inversion that you don't like or that you're not good at. And let's give it a try. I'm going to try Dhanurasana because it's a crazy one. We'll just take about a minute or so, but don't rush. Even if it takes you a whole minute just to get up there. But with intention. Good. All right. And let's slowly come on down. And we're going to do another back bend. Some of you were about to get Dvipada Bakasana, so I want to give you another chance to try that. So either try that, Dvipada Bakasana from your belly, or lay on your back and go into your Urdhva Dhanurasana or your Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. And if you have any questions about Bakasana, feel free to ask. But a lot of it is really just practicing it, figuring out how are you going to get your hand to swivel and your elbow to lift. Miss Bailey, what's going on over there? I know we're not that interesting, just watch us. If you're on your in your Urdhva Dhanurasana style, come down for a breath to rest and then go up again for one more. Good. And then we'll come on down, we'll just lay on our backs for a sec. We're going to take one last inversion. Maybe pincha, maybe not, depending on if you feel like back bending or not. But on this one, we're going to try to come down with straddle legs. So that could be done with any inversion. Again, for today, avoid Mukta Hasta C and B, because then there's too much neck pressure, etc. So once you're up, just have a conscious thought. And then you'll just widen your legs until eventually they get to the ground. And whenever you do get your feet to the ground, we're gonna stay there together and just go for start to 8. So whenever your feet do land, just make any adjustments with them so that you can have your hands now between your feet and your head just dangling. Let's walk the feet in about 6 inches. Let's rise up halfway and walk the feet in to hip width. We'll slide the hands under the feet for Bakasana, which you did earlier. But maybe you think about it differently now because it's after a whole lot of other stuff. And of course, nobody likes pain, but it is when we have issues that we pay more attention. So sometimes, like when my back hurts, I'm thinking more about the bandhas, and it's actually, in the long run, a bit helpful, though annoying. Okay, let's release our hands and squat. Sit down. Release the legs. Let's just windshield wiper the feet for a sec. Just let them go. Boopity boop. Okay, let's lay on our backs. And we'll do that. We'll bring the knees in, then we'll windshield wiper the knees. So we'll drop them down to one side, gaze opposite, and then bring them through center. It'll be easier if you bring them in one at a time. So there's like a prayer. Then go to the other side. You could bring them in together. It just requires more abdominal strength. And just go back and forth at your pace. Little back massage, basically. Next time you're coming through center, we'll just hold the knees in, just roll a little bit. And let's lift the head and shoulders and rock forward and back a little bit, just to massage it out. Let's release the legs out. Before we do a full Shavasana, we're just going to engage everything. So sometimes we do that in Tittibhasana. That would be the Ashtanga style of full engagement right before Shavasana. But another way is lay on your back, flex your feet, make fists with your hands, and engage all of the muscles in your arms, your legs, your butt, your face can make a tense face. Hold it to the point where you feel a vibration. And then let it go. And then you just become a limp noodle. Take a few more breaths here. Make our way to sitting. With the eyes closed, just rub your palms together. And hold the heated palms on or hovering over your eyes. Relax your eyes, the brows, balls, all. Palms together, we'll fold forward. Namaste.